Another fine day, another wonderful day, very beautiful day. We get together and we have conversations. We get together and we talk about things that matter. We talk to people who matter. We talk to people who are doing wonderful things in our community. Any person who know me and know what I've gone through for the last how many days, and then see me smiling, will be like, damn, bro, you see smile. Yeah, that is what happens when you're going to talk to someone who is loaded. You're going to talk to someone who you're very sure is going to uplift your spirit with the information they'll put out. That's what happens when you look at the challenges you're going through, and then you look at the information you're about to receive. You're like, I feel like these challenges are nothing compared to the information we're going to receive right now. And that is what we are big on. That's what we want to continue doing for our community. Making sure it doesn't matter what is happening, it doesn't matter the circumstances, the situation, or anything. We will continue to feed our community with information that will only continue to bless them. I apologize, by the way, for last week. One of those moments, right, where you the same man purpose got it disposed. I don't know, for some reason, it did not broadcast on LinkedIn. It did not broadcast on Facebook. It did not broadcast on it did not broadcast on YouTube. It did not even record on our in StreamYard. But yeah, we learned our lessons. Now we know we have to double check and double check and double check before we continue with any project. Boss, welcome on to reading.
Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure to be here. I'm excited to be here.
Again, I apologize for last week. By the way, I think I don't just learn one new thing. Right now, you see, if you look at our screen, we see the eye way there for top of that stuff. It show how many people they watch. Last week we not be get them, and I think that was supposed to be the indication that it's not broadcasting anywhere on social media. But now we get that, it means say people they already watch them.
Hopefully,
yeah. So I think so. We'll go back to the conversation of last week. But before we go to that, I want to ask you some question. I know you'll get an idea of which probably happen for that domain. We don't always see wealthy people, rich people, influential people. They buy something, either whether na some player jersey or some artwork, or one time on social media, it was about some banana which some man put up a wall and then they put tape on it. They buy them for $5 million. And I don't always wonder, like, what is the whole thing behind wealthy people buying certain things really expensive? Now, I choose say these things and how they call an antique. And I choose say these things and valued items in. But is there some other business thinking attached to really wealthy people buying things that we look at it and we feel like it's ridiculous?
well, I see the quality of my video is kind of shaking
Yeah,
a little bit.
can you just touch that stuff while I talk to them? Just touch that stuff and then
It's
yeah.
okay. It's back to
Okay,
normal.
yeah, nice back. Ah, the month go kill you. The month one stress me.
Yes, I mean, you must admit there's sentimental attachment to
Mhm,
maybe certain celebrities, maybe certain monuments, certain things that
mhm.
exist, maybe the shirt of a superstar or something like that. There's
Yeah.
some attachment to those moments, and certain people sell their t-shirts for some crazy amounts of money at times. And
Mhm,
yeah, but wealthy people have a game also around value of assets.
hmm,
Because how does that happen? You see, everything they call antique, or
mhm.
everything that has that people buy, they might buy it with, some of them buy them because of tax motives.
Yeah.
What do I mean by tax motive? I mean that when you value an item, there are people who buy paintings
Mhm,
for a certain amount of money. And this is, I mean, we see that in the wealthy space. People use paintings and then they can use them to wipe off their tax bill. What
hmm.
does that mean? It means that the tax code is very particular about certain things. It is donations to charity is one of the big spaces where people basically can play some of those games. What does that mean? I go and buy a painting. I buy that painting for, let's say,
Hmm.
$10,000. I buy it today for $10,000. I hang it behind my wall, just like you're seeing those paintings behind the wall. And
Yeah.
then 3 years down the line, I get that same painting assessed by some form of appraiser. It
Hmm.
gets an appraisal, and somebody says, "Oh, that painting today is worth $100,000. I bought it just for $10,000 2 days ago or three
Hmm.
months ago." And somebody says, "Oh, it's now worth $5 million or have $500,000." I mean, this is something that the wealthy play with. They usually play with that because now you can take that asset, which has been
Hmm.
valued at $500,000. You bought it a few years ago, a couple of years ago for 200 for maybe $10,000. Now it's valued at $500,000. If
Hmm.
you gave that that item to any charity of your choice,
Hmm.
you could even donate it to your private family foundation or
Hmm.
donate it to a charity that you manage, but most importantly, to a private family foundation. What does that mean? It means that you just donated an item worth $500,000. And what does that do for you? It means that basically, if you donate items like that, you can write up to 40, 50% of that. You can write that off against your ordinary income. So
Hmm.
if you made $1 million, or you made $500,000, or you made whatever you made, you now have a write-off of up to $500,000 that you can write off against your taxes
Wow.
because of valuation. That is a game. And when you think about paintings, painting is not one of those things that you can just say, you can just enter a place and just look at that painting and say, this is what it costs. It depends on whose wall that painting is sitting on, right?
Yeah.
It depends
Yeah.
on whose wall that painting is sitting on. I can buy the same painting and put it on my door, on my wall, and then Donald Trump buys the same painting. That same painting for Donald Trump is $1 million.
Hmm.
That same painting sitting on my wall or on Sarko's wall is $100.
Hmm.
So painting is not something you can just see with the eye and say, "Oh, this is what it's worth." It is worth what it is depending on where it's sitting at or who owns it. That's the same thing with a T-shirt. A
Hmm.
T-shirt that you bought for $50 can be worn by Maradona and becomes $500,000.
Wow.
And if you took that $500,000 T-shirt, you say, "Okay, that T-shirt that I wore was sold recently in this market for $500,000. This is another one that I wore at the same time." So it's
Mhm.
the fair market value is relative to what it sells for at a particular point in time. You can put it on auction and then you buy it for that same amount of money. It was your thing anyway. You just put it on auction and then you bought it yourself. So basically, you just created value for that asset by buying your own asset at an auction, by just lifting the value of that asset, and you can write it off against your taxes. Yes,
Now I understand why most of the times that purchase that happen na for charity events.
absolutely.
Yeah, it hardly happen for just an open market. No, na ever charity event them, charity event them.
That's right. Because it now gives more value to the asset, and that asset can be donated immediately and written off against your tax bill. That's it.
Wow.
Yes.
You see, these guys. You see why I say this is a person we need to talk to all the time. This is the one person we need to go to for information. This is the one person because trust me, I don't always wonder. I know I don't really be close to persons and we don't go for events. Small, very small event. He donate $35,000. Inside my head, I was like, bro, $35,000. And this was the same person who just bought the Samuel Eto'o jersey for 20 million francs CFA. And everyone is talking about it. Like since why I hear that news, I dey let us say no, I know if you wait more, do the live. Man, really ask you wait to be the rationale behind wealthy people actually putting so much money on something where you are even go look and find, wherever where I eat, ever see really like where I'm say, but then they put boss. Thanks for that explanation. Except you want something.
Yeah, I wanted to say that you have an echo coming from the background. I don't know if the people are
Oh,
getting that, but
oh,
you have an echo coming from your side when I
yeah.
listen to you. On I mean, I was also going to say that I'm not just going to stand here and say most all of those things are meant for a purpose. There's
Mhm.
always there are some there are many of them that are really legitimate, but some also are being made for these purposes. Because what is the value? I mean, intangible assets or tangible assets, you can value them just by making someone buy. When someone is able to transact for any price, that becomes a fair market value of that thing. You can compare and say, oh, this guy just bought it for this. Because the whole game is around the fair market value. You create a fair market value by making that thing marketable at a particular price. Then now you can use that as a bargain. And you can show that this thing actually sold for this. This is why I can sell this for this.
Boss, I still echo.
No.
Oh, thank God. Man, it's so
Yes, you're good.
so yeah, more go back to introducing you again, especially to our LinkedIn to our public. Tell us about Charles Njoya. Who is Charles Njoya?
I mean, thank you for giving me that opportunity to introduce myself to those who don't know me. My name is Charles Njoya. Charles Njoya is a CPA, is a certified tax strategist, and I'm a wealth coach. I run a company called CHN Advisors. CHN Advisors is a tax and estate strategy firm. Keyword strategy. We help high income earners to do what? To basically build wealth by leveraging the tax code. We help high income earners to basically build wealth by leveraging the tax code. What does that mean? You basically use the tax code with all the incentives that are in the tax code to basically build your own wealth.
Hmm.
Why? The question is why? We have to look at the meaning of the tax code. What is the motive behind the tax code? Most people think that the tax code, especially the tax code in the United States, is meant to make you pay taxes because the government wants to take your money. The government doesn't need your money. The tax code is an incentive program, especially again, I'm talking about the United States. The government of the United States doesn't create wealth by building assets, by doing some of the things that many other states do. The government of the United States doesn't have a national investment company that invests in everything they see so that they can make money and be able to do the things that they have to do. The government of the United States doesn't even hire people. The United States only hires about 1.7% of the population. It means that they still have 97%, 98% of the working population that has not been, doesn't have a job. Someone needs to hire them. Someone needs to do that. Someone needs to make sure they are working, that they are out of the job market.
Hmm.
And the tax code is an incentive program to help build the economy.
Hmm.
It helps make America wealthy. And anybody who participates in building America can leverage the tax code and take all the what they call the incentives that are in that tax code. What does that mean? If you look at the tax code, it will tell you that if you do this, 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 you will get access to this, to this, to this, to this, to this. What are the things? They say if you're building the economy in a particular way, which the government at that particular point in time wants to basically focus on. If you do that, they will give you tax write-off. They will give you tax credit. They will give you access to opportunity zones. They will give you code section 179. They will give you bonus depreciation. They will give you EV credits. There are so many types of things in the tax code that are available to anyone who is building the economy in one way or the other. And building the economy in America simply means you are making yourself wealthier because the government gives you two things that will give you access to those things that you need to build the economy. You just need to be entrepreneur. You just need to have that mindset. The first thing they're going to give you is number one, they give you the tax incentives. So the wealthier you are, the less taxes you're going to pay in the United States. That's number one. Number two, they give you access to the capital market. So they don't expect you to save to do what you want to do, because the government is going to regulate and make sure that the capital market has enough capital for you to be able to access it and do what you want to do. So by building wealth for yourself, you pay less in taxes. The wealthy don't pay taxes because there is no wealth tax in America. Wealth tax is what they call estate taxes. You only talk about estate taxes in America when you die and you leave an estate of over $14 million. Many of us are not even there. So wealth doesn't pay taxes in the United States.
Wow. Boss, so much information, and I know how much other persons like you especially charge for things like this. Why are you sharing this information on all social media platforms, on YouTube, and now you're doing this on LinkedIn? Why do you feel like it's necessary for someone like you to always create that time out of your busy schedule to come and educate our people on these things?
Because that's the only way. I mean, look about it. I'm not here. I'm not a philanthropist. I don't go out. I mean, I do philanthropy on another side, but I also have a purpose. My purpose is not only about trying to make money for myself, it's also about changing the community in which we live. If you know something that somebody else doesn't know, and you know that person will benefit by knowing that, let them know it. Let me tell you, 99.99% of even CPAs in America, most people believe that CPAs are going to help them. Investment advisors will help them. Financial planners will help them. These people don't understand how the system works. Wow. You have to have had the privilege of being in the circles of those that they call family offices, of those that make certain things happen, or you can buy your way into it. There are so many people. The problem is that in our communities, we don't understand that the value in America is in intangibles, knowledge. It's in understanding the system. The value, as we've been taught in our systems, is about tangible. You buy a house, you buy a car, you buy those things that you can touch. In America, it's not the same. The value is in the stock market. And for you to get into the stock market, you have to study. You have to know how it works. The value is in the tax code. How do you understand? Our mindsets are all being skewed about the tax code. People believe that the tax code is mainly created so that the government can take money and build the economy. In America, the government doesn't build the economy. The government creates the foundations for you and I to build the economy. And these are things that people don't understand because there are so many myths in the regarding taxes. Most people believe that when you are paying taxes, you are a better citizen than that guy who did not pay taxes. Madness. That's madness. The guy is not paying taxes because he is building the economy in a particular way. He is structured to show that this is how I am building the economy. And when you do that, you have access to incentives that are all built in the tax code. The tax code is an incentive plan to build the economy. That's the mindset behind the tax code. Nobody cares. That's why. That the reason we talk about this is to educate our people so that they go away from those myths and start understanding that this system is different from 99.9% of the places where we come from. Because 99.9% of Americans are all immigrants. And guess what? The top 1%, everybody in America knows that the wealthy don't pay taxes. The top 1% don't pay taxes. Instead of trying to learn what these people are doing, we are there vilifying them, telling them that they are stupid, whereas you are the one who is playing stupid. You have to learn why do these people not do these things? And that's why I keep talking about these things so that we in our communities can start learning how to do these things and also get into the top 1%. Because we are the hardest working set of people in America. Immigrants work harder than anybody. The problem is we don't know how the system works. Go to the best schools in America, you will see only immigrants are filled there. But these immigrants, they are being taught to become the slaves of the system. It's like the poor dad in Rich Dad Poor Dad. Those are books that were written in the 70s, in the 80s, for us to learn how the system works. But we still don't understand how this system works. Wealthy people don't pay taxes. The middle class pays all the bills of America.
Boss, that's deep. And that's the thing about you, the energy, the passion. Whether we like it or not, we're going to pay attention when you speak. Now the other thing I was going to ask you, and I've heard you say this so many times. Are you just working alone, or are you working with a team, or like how does it work for you? Tell us about CHN Advisors.
Okay, I mean, CHN Advisors is a tax and estate strategy firm. When I talk about tax and estate strategy, it means that there is far more to our system than just us. In CHN Advisors, we have a team. You meet what you call a family kind. It is set up as a family office. A family office is a group of people who are all within the wealth building sphere. They come together because in America, everybody is licensed before you can do anything. They are licensed in real estate investment. They are licensed as a CPA. They are licensed as a financial advisor on the investment side. They are licensed as a financial advisor on the retirement side, financial advisor on the insurance side. They are licensed as an expert tax credit person. They are licensed as a loan officer. Everything, you must have a certification. There is no one person who just come and stand and say, I'm the tax strategist, or I'm the estate strategist, I know everything. It doesn't happen in America. You have to have a team. And in our team, you find attorneys, you have financial advisors on the insurance side, retirement side, investment side. You have accountants, you have CPAs, you have tax preparers, you have loan officers, you have energy experts, you have real estate brokers. All of these people are the people that are put together to help you on all the different levels of wealth building. That's what we do. That's the firm you get. You get one-stop shop when you work with CHN Advisors. We in this country, we've always heard about family offices. For those who have heard, because 99% have never heard that name, family office. It is the top 1%. What do they work with? They work with family offices to help them make sure that they are structured accordingly. Structure is the key. If you structure correctly, you're going to build wealth in this country like nobody has seen, based on your level, because every person has his own level. Depending on the level of income where you are going to get to your capacity, because you have the support that you need. You have the right coaches, you have the right mentors, you have the right attorneys supporting you, the right people for investments, for all these things, acquiring real estate, and how to structure them to work for you. Building wealth, anything that is passive activity in the United States pays very little taxes. But anything that takes effort, you go to work, you are clocking in, clocking out, it takes all your money away in the form of taxes. It is a slavery system. Yes.
Wow, boss. So how are we going to work on this space? I'm talking about LinkedIn. Is it going to be people making suggestions for topics, or is it going to be you just deciding? You know what? Let's talk about this. Is it going to be like? How do you think it should go? Do you think our audience have the privilege, the rare privilege of maybe sometimes pushing out topics, and you just getting into that topic and educating them on these topics? Is it
We're
possible?
going to do two things. There are
Mhm.
many people who know exactly what they're looking for. There are
Yeah.
things that are hot off the press. They are actually out there that are happening that people don't know where to go. And there are many who will listen to the people. When people make suggestions, we go on those suggestions and then we can answer their questions. And even when we're live, we can answer some questions live. We come here and we do live so that people can come on and ask their questions,
I
and
love
we'll
it.
be able to answer those questions live. Our goal is to make this message go as wide as possible. Unfortunately, most people don't listen to conversations. Most people don't listen to things that don't have anything to do with I mean, when you talk about topics like this, you have very few people listening. But this is what we are all here for. We are all here for a dream. Our American dream is hidden in one thing. It's called the tax code.
Hmm.
Whether you like it, you don't like it, your American dream is inside the tax code. Every administration that comes to office in the United States, the number one thing they are looking at is the tax code. The number one thing that people have voted on is the tax code. So whether you like it, that's what governs the United States of America.
Hmm.
Whether you're working in NASA, you cannot avoid the tax code. That's the one thing that's common for all of us. So you better learn it, know it. Otherwise, some CPA or some guy somewhere seated at your tax preparer, he's helping you give all your wealth away in one way or the other. Yes.
Wow, that's beautiful. Uh, I, wa- I was just thinking the other day. I was with someone and they were discussing California and the stuff that is going on there. And this guy looked at me and actually smiled, like, because I was worried about the properties that have been lost and things like that. And I was so concerned, like, oh, how do you? And then the guy looked at me and laughed, like, hey, it depends on who they are talking to, especially when it comes to tax strategies. Because for me, I feel like it's just about insurance. He said, no, it's not only about insurance. If you're talking to a tax strategist, somebody who knows what to do and how to do it, it's really difficult for those people to, like, the wealthy people don't really even cry over those things. I don't know, make that make sense to us, boss. When situations happen, when disasters happen, when even man-made disasters happen, is it possible that somehow there is some ideas in the tax code that we can leverage to at least ease our pain?
There is actually the tax code allows you, there's something called casualty losses in the tax
Hmm.
code. And casualty losses, a few years ago, you could write off anything. You have a small accident, you just write it off as a casualty loss.
Hmm.
Then the tax code, I don't know, just before the TG, the Tax Code and Jobs Act, the tax code that came before that actually revisited that concept of casualty loss. And for casualty loss to be written off on the federal side, you have to meet certain requirements. It has to be in a zone that has been federally declared as an emergency, as a federal disaster zone by the President of the Republic. So when things are happening in each state, most people are very they want, that's why you would hear that, oh, this zone has been declared a federal disaster zone.
Hmm.
Once it's declared, it means that you can write off all the losses that you've incurred in that particular area if you were part of that disaster. And that becomes very important. You can get a lot of benefits from there. But yeah, so that's really where it plays on the taxes. And most of these people, again, it's about structure. It's about how you structure your estate. That losses, can you recover on those losses? Most people think that it's just only insurance. It goes beyond insurance.
Hmm.
It goes beyond insurance. Insurance is incredible, of course. Insurance is about replacing the asset. But many people take advantage of this situation from a tax standpoint, they take it from the insurance standpoint, but just because they have basically structured in the right way. That's why everything has to do with your structure. The way you structure your estate is going to determine a lot. But from a tax standpoint, if it's a federal declared disaster zone, then you have a lot of tax. You can take a lot of tax benefits from any losses that you incurred there. Yes, casualty losses.
Was I laugh because it's difficult for me to ask a question. I never ask you some question and then you stutter, like you like, oh, okay, I don't know about this. Or now I want to ask you, like, is it because you work with most of these really wealthy people, the people up there, or is it because of longevity? Tell us a little bit about how you accumulate all this knowledge.
So at times when we speak to people, people say, "Oh, I just spoke to this guy for 30 minutes." And he's talking about maybe your fee or your bill. I tell them that, hey, my fees is an accumulation of 30 years of experience,
Hmm.
30 years of paying for programs, 30 years of going through all sorts of things that are available. 30 years. You've been with me and you've seen me make some incredible decisions about certain things.
Yeah.
And we pay some crazy amounts for certain things that a normal person will be seeing like this is a waste of money. It's not a waste of money.
Mhm.
It's not. Yesterday, I was talking to one of my in-laws,
Mhm.
to one of my brothers, and I was telling them there's an event that's taking place in their city, and that event is being managed by somebody who's brought in some very knowledgeable guys together, and
Mhm.
he's doing an event he's doing a conference, and that conference is going for about $20,000. It starts 10 to $20,000.
Mhm.
I mean, $10 to $30,000. And I told them, you must attend this event. And they were like, this thing goes for $30,000, $20,000. I said, yes, that's the price of knowledge. And if
Yeah.
you want to get if you want to get wealthy, anything that has value has a price.
Price.
And you must invest to get to where you want to go. If you think that the best things are going to come to you for $10, $5, $20, if you are used to only paying $10 to get things, you get the value of $10. That's it.
$10.
You only get the value of $10. People who invest in themselves, they cost money. And
Boss,
you are going to pay a certain
can
amount
we
to
fix
get
that
there.
issue, please? Can we fix that issue, boss? Please. Oh God. Yeah, and I'll give you a few minutes. May just adjust that thing and they will come back. But what he's saying is right. What he's saying is right. Nothing is given out for free. Nothing is handed out. Anytime they give something for free, challenge yourself. Ask yourself, why is this thing for free? Um, in most cases, things that are really valued, things that are really valuable, will cost money. Will cost a good amount of money. If you're not there ready for invest, I have seen him made crazy decisions. Like one time he made a decision, I did not open my mouth to say anything, but I was actually just waiting for the whole thing to crash, and I would say, "Oh, boss, I want to tell you this." But guess what? It turned out super productive, and I learned. What he's saying is true. What he's saying is true. If you're going to really get to where you want to be, you must be ready to make some really crazy decisions. Boss, you were saying something
Yeah,
about.
I was just, I wanted just to confirm what we're saying, that there's a price to these things. When you speak, at times you're asking me this question, where do you learn it? Even when I leave the office late, I
Mhm.
spend at least 2 hours going through channels just so I know what happened yesterday.
Hmm.
I want to know exactly what happened here to the day because it helps me. It helps all of us. I'm
Yeah.
not going there to watch people dancing or to do this
Mhm.
I'm going there to watch those things that I know that I'll be able to add value to somebody's life tomorrow. That's my role. It's my role. People pay me to add value to them, to help them build certain things. That's
Hmm.
what people pay me for. And I need to make sure that I'm well up to date with what's happening around me. Because the
Yeah.
tax code, like the new tax code that's going to come out, I have already revised all the strategies that we had for many of my clients. Why? Because I am already preparing for the tax code because I know by July ending, that thing is going to be out there. It's going to go through. And when it goes through, that is the law of the land. You like it, you don't like it, you just have to prepare for it.
Yeah.
Yes. So when we give information, it's not just somebody sits in your office and then you speak to him for 30 minutes. You tell him that, okay, this was a consultation and you were going, you give him a price and they say, no, it's just for 5 minutes. It's knowledge for 30 years it's been given to you in 5 minutes.
Hmm.
And that's why people pay significantly to go to certain people. If
Yeah.
you have identified somebody and say, this guy, I want him to mentor me, you have to do everything for that guy to mentor you.
That's true.
He might not even know you, but he's your mentor.
Yeah.
He might not even know you, but he's your mentor because you're following him. You're doing what he's doing. There are people that I pay for mentorship all the time, and I tell people, go and pay. I told my younger sister, my sister-in-law yesterday, go and pay and attend because there's a price. If what you're looking for, you are too cheap to get to what you're looking for.
Yeah.
You're too cheap to get to what you're looking for. If you want to do it, attend that event. It's in your city. Go for that event. Attend that event. It will be a life changer for you. It will change your mindset. The problem we have is here. Change your mindset and you change your goal. You change what you're doing. There are things that I usually say that we usually say. I tell people about things that are going to happen in the next 3, 4, 5 years, and they think, yeah, maybe you're over this, but I know they are going to happen. They are going to happen because how you do everything you have in
Okay. I don't know what is happening, but
network. Yes.
okay. Yeah, we can get you now.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
I mean, I was just telling everybody that. I
Mhm.
mean, you have to invest in what you want to achieve, and it will happen. Define your goal, define your apple, and then find a way to get there. There are people who have done it before. You are not creating any will. Follow the rules, follow the steps, and you will get there.
Wow, boss. Thank you very, very much. We have done 35 minutes already. I think the next time we meet, we are going to talk about structure. You're very big on that. I've seen you educate people on that. Now the biggest blessing, that's what I always get them. Me traveling with you and hearing you say these things again and again and again and again is pushing me to structure. I was just explaining to you earlier today what I'm going through, not even what I was going through. And for some reason, I need to really like worry, I need to really like panic because I feel like everything they in control. I know say if everything crash now, highest now 1 week now 2 weeks I get them, I'll get back to the same place I want to be because not only did I build this by myself, but because I don't understand how which you talk about structure, and then I started okay, this thing get for B, this one as soon as you get for B. So even if everything they falls to the ground, I already know how for build them again back up. Thank you. Any final words to our community? Any last words to the community?
The community, I'll tell the community that, I mean, you have to identify what you want to learn.
Mm-hmm.
When you see something, I mean, people should change. I mean, people should focus on learning what they want to achieve. If your goal is to make money, is your goal is to change a community. If your goal is to whatever your goal is, you have to find some sort of roadmap that already exists. And that roadmap is given to you by mentors. It's going to be given to you. And those mentors, they're not going to come and say, come and take this for free. They might need your time. Time is to invest, and things like this, where people are speaking, where we're talking about things that change, that the valuable things, you go and listen. When you listen to certain people, you always get something that you can take from that conversation and take it to the next, to the next, to the next. The world has become a global village. Everything is on the net. You choose what you want to. You choose your goals and then you focus on them. On the net, the things that come to you on your platform are the things that you normally watch.
Mm.
The things that come to your platform, the algorithm follows what your interest is in.
Yeah.
If your interest is about seeing dancing, you only open your
Thank you.
Facebook page and see only dancing.
That's true.
If your interest is about seeing people who are talking about strategy, whenever you open, you will see strategy people talking about it. Well, if your interest is about building communities, you open, you will see interest. The algorithm follows your interest. So it is very clear. You tell people, I mean, whatever you see on your platform is what your interest is showing you. You can change that interest, change your mindset, and you'll start seeing where you want to go. That's what I want to say, tell people.
Boss, thank you very much. We'll talk again for background.
Thank you. Talk to you soon.
Yeah. What he's saying is true. What he's saying is not just true, it's huge, it's very, very important. I see people say, oh, the algorithm, they force you with certain things in. That's not true. You're just telling a lie. The algorithm, they actually push which way. You don't teach the algorithm, say you want watch. And we have to be really careful. We have to follow people like him, other people who are bringing knowledge, he's talking about the tax code, the new tax code that is probably going to pass this month or next month. Guess what? Do you have time to read that 300-page document, or how many? Even the people who have signed it, some of them are saying they did not read everything. And then me and you go get time for read that. No. But guess what? Unfortunately, we'll get passed away. They even read that because he read them. He read that because he is so passionate about knowing what is happening. And then on some particular day, he will just serve it to you. He will just bring it to. I can't wait for that law, that new bill to pass. I hope so many things they did. At the end of the day, the beautiful thing about America, like he always says, is whatever law they are passing is not for a specific person, it's for everyone. So now, if you don't find yourself in the bracket of people who are going to benefit from the new tax bill, guess what? Do something. And people like Charles Njoya can help you structure you. So before you know it, you find yourself in that tax bracket or in that that group of persons that will benefit from certain things. Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, any social media, Charles Njoya or CHN Advisors, they are uploading a lot of information, a lot of beneficial information you want to take advantage of. Thank you very much. We'll see you guys on the next one. I think I'll do a live later on today to talk about something really, really beautiful, something really, really interesting. See you on the next one.